So everything sits within the bucket of our vision. We're going to have the structural elements. So I want you to picture a hierarchy. There's the purpose, under it is the big goals, and then under it there's going to be goals for every department. And the faster you can think like this, and the more nimble you are with this thinking, the easier it's going to get. And your conversations will flow a lot more. WIG could be big goal, and then you're going to have under that all the departments. And every department is going to have its own WIG or big goal. And the departments could be sales department, marketing, admin, IT, finance, delivery of services, building of the services. It could also be supply chain management. But you're going to have departments. That is one way to look at structure. So if you're in a conversation with someone, you're going to want to get clear on which part of the structure they fit within. Because you don't want to talk to somebody in charge of sales about, frankly, IT. That's not going to be a good use of their time. So it's really the most basic version of structure there is in the critical alignment model, the structure and where they fit in. Now, within that, let's say we're looking at marketing department. Within that, the marketing department gets broken out into its own areas of functions of responsibility. So it could be online marketing, and that could be broken into social media, Google SEO, Google ads, Facebook ads, and certainly it could be this all divided out. It could be within a marketing department, you could have a whole team dedicated to projects, another team dedicated to building sales funnels. So within every department, you're going to have another goal. So never assume, because you're speaking to somebody in a department who's an individual team member, that they understand all the goals of everyone else. That's a really easy place to have a problem. Because they can make assumptions about this, they can ignore it, they could be not interested into it. Now, who's interested in knowing who they can develop as a future leader? Who thinks that's a pretty good thing to have? Yeah? Well, this is it. Anybody who sits here who has no interest in this is not ready for leadership. And you can't force it. You can't make someone interested in somebody else's function. Either they're interested in this or they're not. And if all they're interested in is their micro position, if all they're interested in their piece of the puzzle and they can't see the jigsaw, they are not ready for leadership. A leader must be willing to see the jigsaw before it's constructed. Followers have to see the jigsaw complete to believe it. The leader has to imagine the jigsaw and see all the pieces. But someone who's very micro, someone who's really into this thing and who doesn't really care about that or show an interest and doesn't figure out how theirs interacts with this, if they don't see the macro and they're incapable of stepping back, they're incapable of leadership, because leadership is all about stepping back. Then the next thing you're looking for in someone who is capable of being developed into a leader, not only are they interested naturally in how this fits together, they adapt their role to ensure this is more successful. So they're not the person sitting there going, that's not my responsibility, or you didn't say that was my job, or no one told me that, or that's never the way we've done it, or that's the way we've always done it, isn't capable of seeing jigsaw pieces. The person who notices that over here, the SEO really links to the sales copy they're writing. You know what, I'm really adapting how I write my copy because I can see it's having a real impact on how our Google analytics are going. There's a real connection between that. I'm starting to see it. So what I'm doing is I'm adapting how I write, and it's driving these measures for them. So leadership is the capacity, or leadership in a leader being developed is capable of care for other numbers other than their own. Now, then within that team, every individual will have their own goals. Now, I'm going to get really chunked down into structure here, and this is just one element of structure. Everybody's got their own individual goals, which are then broken down. Let's say this is the individual. That individual will have their purpose, which should fit into the bigger purpose, and their WIG, which should be aligned to the bigger WIG. And then they will have their different areas of responsibility or functions, and all of those should be documented. So you will have a job function that has all these different outcomes next to it. It won't be describing today they do this, they do this. It's literally written in terms of outcomes. So this person's, if they were achieving their results, this is what it would look like. And they should know them, and you should know them. And then what I used to do is I used to have a big folder, 3-hole punch folder on my desk with a slot or a sub, whatever section for every single team. And so every department, then that department would have its WIG on the front page and its yearly goals on the front page. Then behind it, for each of these, I would have 90-day goals. And that'd be broken down into weeklies. The weeklies didn't go in the folder. So what I had all the time, every single department, I would have their yearly goals. Then behind it, 90-day goals. And that's for the team. Then behind that, every single individual would have their 90-day goals, which contribute to the team's 90-day goals, which contributes to the yearly goals. And that would sit there structurally on my desk. And I did that for 12 years straight, every quarter. So if I was in a meeting with someone and they were discussing something else, pull out the folder. Well, let's have a look at how you're going with your 90-day goals. Let's have a look at where you're meant to be by now. You're 1 month into your 90-day goals. Let's see how you're going, see how you're progressing. Where do you need help? What's going on? And it became this benchmark. Benchmarking is the key word to which I would bring them back constantly. Yeah, but I really think we should float over here and do something completely unrelated that's nothing to do with it. Then I'd link it back to purpose. Well, how is that linked to our purpose? How does that help us achieve our purpose? Why would we do that? And I just keep bringing it back to purpose. Well, I don't know, it just seems like a lot of fun. Great. And I want you to have fun, I really do. Let's look at that for next quarter. If it fits in with our purpose, we can bring it. But right now, these are the goals we've agreed we're going to hit. Just around here, we don't call anyone staff, we call them team members. I haven't used the word staff except when I'm in a training like this in 18 years. So everyone's a team member, and we don't do monthly supervision. No one is supervised. We use language like check-ins. Now, I don't know how profound the language shift is. All I know is I want to create a culture and encourage a culture of accountability with assistance and support, not accountability because I'm supervising you. So I want you on my team to want to do it versus you doing it because I'm supervising you. When I ran the business, it was weekly check-ins with team leaders. So obviously I was the CEO of the company, so I checked in with every single team leader weekly. So it was a Monday check-in. How did you go last week? So Monday mornings, all till 1 p.m., I was having to check in with every team leader. They all got 45 minutes. They had to bring their 90-day goals. I had my version as well. I knew what they were meant to be doing the previous week because we'd agreed on the Monday. And I just go through it. How'd you go with that? What happened there? Is that done? Great. How are we going to set up this week to move you close to the 90-day goals? And I just repeat, 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 repeat.